One, two, 1, 2. Shout out to Tim Reynolds. Shout out to Infinity Hall in Hartford, Connecticut. It's your boy. Concert Viz 34 in the building. And we back on a Saturday night. Just saw Tim Reynolds in Hartford, Connecticut. Shout out to Amy, always in the chat, no matter what time of day or night I am live. She's always there. Thank you for everyone else who is with me as well. And let me make sure I have my connection. My net connection's a 3 out of 10. Whoa, we got to get this thing up, baby. Got to get this thing up. What is going on? Let me know if it gets a little choppy. Anyway, so TR3 in Hartford, Connecticut. This was my first Tim Reynolds show, period. Him solo, him with his trio. Just to give you guys a little bit of a history, this show in Hartford and this tour was supposed to happen in 2020. Tickets went on sale in 2019, and then the pandemic happened. This show was rescheduled. And the show was rescheduled. Ended up being today. So there were some empty seats in the front where I was in the third row here and there, but that's just because, listen, this thing was planned a long time ago before that COVID hit us. So if you wanted to go, but you probably even aren't in the same state. Oh my, miss. All right, let me stop. So we're gonna talk about this show. It is a little choppy. Okay, it should be better now. Looks like I got full steam ahead, 100%. But what I'll say about TR3. Oh, you saw them in Evanston, Illinois. That's what Connor says. Connor's on as always. Thank you again. Don't forget, hit that like button. Even if you're watching the replay, hit the like button. So TR3. What I like about this is I got to see Tim Reynolds in his element. I mean, he's great with DMB, but this is the music that he and his trio want to make. This is the stuff that is his specialty. He's taking us into his own world. And it actually clicks well with some of the music I love being a prog rock fan. What I love about this is we really get to see Tim do progressive rock in his own form. With Dave Matthews Band, he does rock out, but the Dave Matthews Band is an acoustic percussive band. So the electric guitar stuff to me is, it's better in this version where it's Tim Reynolds is, and his trios that is a focal point. The other thing about trios, it's incredibly hard to be in a trio and sound very well. Now, typically a trio has a drum player, a bass player, and a guitarist who has to play lead and chord parts because there's only one guitarist. Where most rock bands have a rhythm guitarist, and then they have a second lead guitarist, like Tim would be the lead guitarist for DMB. Dave's playing the rhythm parts on his acoustic, right? For the Grateful Dead, Bobby Weir is the rhythm guitarist, and the late great Jerry Garcia was the lead player who also sang. So two different setups. DMB, their primary vocalist plays the rhythm stuff. For the Grateful Dead, their primary vocalist plays the lead stuff, and he does more of that solo stuff where Bobby is the backup vocals but plays the rhythm stuff. So it is hard to do, and TR3 sounded amazing. I thought I was at a Rush show for a second, and parts of it, he took us to outer space, right? It felt like the 70s Rush that I love so much. He took us to acoustic land and did some amazing things on his acoustic guitar. You guys know how I feel. Tim Reynolds, to me, is at his best on acoustic because what he does on acoustic is so much harder. If you don't play guitar, the tension on an acoustic guitar pushes back at your hands more. To get chords out is harder on an acoustic guitar. It is incredibly harder to just play out, like I have it right here, just to play this. That's a simple chord, an A chord, but to play all that on an acoustic, your hands have to be stronger. An electric guitar feels like lighter. It's almost like running in full football equipment or military equipment or first responders equipment is what acoustic guitar is like. To play this, now this is some of this stuff's easier, but this stuff, just to play this, is harder on acoustic. But Tim makes it feel like you're playing weightless on an electric guitar. That's why electric guitars, you hear much more solos. To do all this stuff up here, all that stuff at the higher registers of an acoustic guitar are harder than an electric guitar. And Tim does it so well. He does this multifaceted. He's playing the bass line and the regular parts. Like, this is hard to play. Like, it's hard to play the bass and the lead part at the same time. And what he also does is on one of his songs, he was playing the slide guitar parts that he plays with DMB, and he was playing some rhythm parts back and forth. Government Mule, another example of with Warren Haynes. He does that very well as well. But I was very impressed. I'm never not impressed by Tim, but I thought that Tim, with his actual trio, you get to see him in his element. And it makes you appreciate him a lot more. You guys know how I feel about Tim. I prefer him on the acoustic guitar with DMB. I think he does amazing things electrically, and some of that stuff works with the band, but some of it not necessarily isn't the spirit of DMB. But I will never deny his talent, and that's what I was impressed by what he was doing. Just with this show at TR3. He had a David Bowie tribute. He played a couple Bowie tunes towards the end of his main set, and that was pretty cool. And he took you everywhere. And I was talking to the merch guy for Tim, and he's been traveling around with Tim since around 2010. And it was his birthday. I totally forgot his name, but happy birthday to the merch guy. His wife surprised him and came in town. So, but he was talking to us. He gave me a pick. And let me see if I can pull that up. And Tim's guitar pick for electric guitar is twice the thickness. It's a millimeter thick. I have 0.5 millimeter guitar picks here for my electric guitar pick. And he has the same type of guitar picks, the Dunlop. Then my acoustic pick is 73 millimeters. So my acoustic pick is a little less thicker. His regular electric pick is thicker than my acoustic pick and my electric. So pretty interesting to see that. But let me just bring up this so you guys can see. Infinity Hall in Hartford, they have a location in Norfolk, Connecticut that's more in the sticks. They did a great job. They gave out this free promo poster. Even if like I didn't, you could buy a real like an actual poster. This was a cool promo poster. February 5th in Hartford, February 2nd in Norfolk, and that's the guitar pick right there. So that was pretty cool. And just to give you an idea of where I was sitting, I mean, I was third row. This is a great venue. If you're ever in Hartford, Lettuce comes through here. I saw Citizen Cope, and you can always get a great seat if you buy right away for most shows. Some of the like super popular ones, they may not have seats here. Some of them have GA floor. There was a DMB tribute band, I believe that was either here or somewhere in Hartford a couple weeks ago. I wasn't able to make it. One of them, they also came down to this Fairfield, Connecticut when I had some other plans. But this was a pretty awesome show. Now, what I want to get to is I loved how Tim handled I don't want to say a heckler because people were cheering and talking after the songs, but two people decided to talk during the encore, and Tim handled them well. I want to play this video. Hey, DMB Gorge Crew, let's see if they responded here. They didn't. I know they have the great people at DMB Gorge Crew, but if you guys make a video on this, I will. I mean, not a video. DMB Gorge Crew is not a YouTube channel. They're an awesome community started by a couple folks there, and let me make sure this is the. So this is the Bowie tribute, just to give you an idea. Yeah, Luke, I love the stuffed dog as well. Pretty cool. They put it up for every show. But that was a little bit of that Rebel Rebel. Let me put up. This is, I'm going to play this video here. I'll play this video here. And this is where someone started talking, but Tim handles this with grace. Take a look at this here. Take a listen to this here.
That's what we're doing. That's promised. That's right.
That's what we're here for.
Same here. It's all about listening.
So let's play that back. It's all about listening. That should be the shirt DMB Gorge Crew makes. It's all about listening. Just like in Long Island, Dave had to tell people talk real bleeping quietly if you're going to talk.
It's all about listening.
I could put
It's all about
that should be on a loop right there. It's all about listening. It's all about listening.
It's all about listening.
Yeah, this was awesome. And I'll say this 99.999% of the crowd was amazing, respectful, awesome. It just took one or two people. And again, they were doing this after every song, which is like somewhat annoying, but it's not during the songs. But this is the encore of the last show of the tour. The last show of the tour. The next thing Tim is doing, he's going to be playing in Mexico. It was like, yeah, like, please, this is not the time. So he handles this with such grace. And there's always one. It seems like there's always someone. And this was a very small, intimate hall, even though I was third row. This thing goes back about 15 rows. It's usually, again, it's a GA floor for a lot of events. And yeah, there's Greg. Greg, thanks for coming on. Greg, what was the name of the merch guy whose birthday it was? I totally forgot it. If you can put that in the chat, we do want to shout him out by name. But the merch guy whose birthday it was. But yeah, it was just like, as small as it is, you can hear everything. The people on stage, doesn't matter where you were. Like it just, you could hear everything. But most of the crowd was awesome. It just was two people who were talking there, and that's what really ruined it for the, at least at the beginning. But it really, oh, Johnny Rocket. Yeah, happy birthday, Johnny. It's actually my father's birthday as well. Happy birthday to Papa Concert Viz 34. I was able to talk to him today, and because of some ice out here, I didn't get to see him. Usually, me and my father and some other men at my church, we run a mentor program, which I love so much. And without my father, I could not be the mentor I am. So happy birthday to my father, but happy birthday to Johnny Rocket. He was awesome. His wife was there, and he was talking to me, Greg, and Sandy, and just other people, and just very, very nice dude. Um, Talking about going on tour with Tim, whether it's the DMB shows, whether it's the Tim solo shows and the TR3, his trio shows. He is pretty much there for Tim to sell merch, and a lot of great stuff that was there at the merch stand. So, but yeah, this show to me was just, it showcased Tim Reynolds in his element. And the thing we have to remember about DMB is, whether it's Rashawn, Jeff Coffin, or Tim Reynolds, and even Buddy Strong, if you go and listen to him like play with other acts, you get to, oh, thank you, Amy, for wishing my father a happy birthday. You get to see them really. This is really a representation of who they are, right? They have jobs to fill in parts for the Dave Matthews Band. Oh, he does other roadie stuff for him. That's awesome. No, he's definitely nice to talk to. And but you get to see him in his element. And I feel the same way. Jeff Coffin, when he played with the Flecktones, he's also played with a group called Snarky Puppy, which I have been dying to see. They are so popular. But let me see if I can do Snarky Puppy and Jeff Coffin. Like Jeff Coffin with Snarky Puppy is, it's just amazing. Let me see if we can. All right, here's Jeff. Let's get to Jeff right here. So there's Jeff Coffin does some things with this group called Snarky Puppy. It's a collective of musicians that actually float in and out of the actual lineup. But just to hear him play, or hear Tim play, or hear even I've never heard Stefan's side group, Yukon Cornelius, but you get to really see these artists for who they are. Oh, Jeff and a DMB torch. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, it may be that 2016 tour shirt. Hmm. Yeah, it could be. But yeah, it's nice to see the artists in their element. And there's much more, like, again, DMB is only a part of what they do. A lot of them have these different projects. They collab, Rashawn with Slightly Stupid and OAR and some other things that he does. He's been on TV, like, I don't know if it was the Grammys, but he's been on TV with like a big band setup. He's been tasked to be playing with different musicians for TV, which is really cool. And oh, Makisha or Mike Saha subscribed to the channel 16 minutes ago. Thank you for subscribing, Mike, to the channel, and thank you all you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button to support. You hit the like button. This gets the video in higher viewership. Oh, Grammy. Oh, so there you go. Greg says Rashana's in the Grammys house band. Okay, that's what it. Yeah. So it's cool to see them in different elements. But it was definitely fun. And oh, let me post this just so you guys can see it. I'm gonna put this on my Twitter. The amplifier that Tim has for TR3 is a little smaller, and it makes sense because it's a more of a, if this is a smaller it's a smaller room, so it's a smaller amp. Just put up, let me pull up my Twitter now so you guys can see that. Oh, sorry. See if it'll update here. It's a little bit of a smaller cabinet than what you'll see with the full band. Let's pull this up. So yeah, this is the same Mesa that he has, and the mic setup is a little different. So if we go to Tim, like here, let's pull up. Oh yeah, I was on the other side. Let's see if this will do it. So if you look right here, Tim has a larger amp on stage right next to Dave. Right there. And it's got a different mic, and the mic has a little bit of a shell in front of it. And he has a double kind of cabinet. See if we can get a better shot of this from. But yeah, it was cool to see he had a little bit of a different setup. He had his acoustic Martin guitar, he had his Telecaster, he had his I think that was his Supra. I don't think that was a Gibson. I think there was a Supra, his black Supra. He had his SG, his Gibson SG, which is the red guitar. The Telecaster is that white guitar he has. Let's see. Well, he has a couple different tellies, but the telly is typically white that he uses with DMB. See if this video can show you. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can get a better show just to give you an idea of what. Oh yeah, that's going to be a bad view. The last stop. Maybe my last stop video. Let's see if we can. Yeah, yeah. So right there, you can see it's a little bit bigger. Yes, and Greg says this, love when Tim left his guitar on reverb when he left the stage. Yep. So he had his guitar, and I think he held it. He had it held, but he kind of played his last note and he let it reverberate there, and it looked like he had pressed something to keep it like on a loop to loop it, and then that's what was playing. He just had a loop of it at the end, but yeah, that's the setup right there for tonight. So this is definitely a smaller amp. But again, the amp, your size of your amp, if you're not a guitar player, the size of your amp is almost built for a certain room. And they're always mic'd up. Typically you can plug it into the system, but it's usually mic'd up and they'll put the mic, but the size of an amp typically, again, you have a larger cabinet, larger amp is typically for a larger room or an arena versus a concert hall. Um, so it makes sense. And this is, you can travel a little lighter. But I thought it was an overall just a great show. And there's a lot that Tim showcases across progressive rock and regular rock. And he plays with the slide, he plays with his hands, he plays with the um, plays with his pick, and it just was awesome to see him again in his element. If you have a chance to see Tim or TR3, which is his trio, again, bassist, guitar, bassist, drummer, and Tim is the electric guitarist, I would highly suggest going to see him there. A great night was had in Hartford. And yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. Again, it's my first show. Oh, the other thing was the merch guy, Johnny, did mention that they put in certain songs from various tour stops. Like one song hadn't been played since Chicago, right? Uh, or Illinois, and like they really tried to make a diverse set list. And I thought that was awesome because if I would have, next time if I see there's a couple TR3 shows in my area, I'm gonna try to go to all of them. Now, what I'll say is this week was crazy because you had snow and ice and all this crazy stuff, and I was a little bit busy. Like the show that was on Tuesday, the second, I couldn't have made. So it, but if I see a couple shows next time, I'm gonna try to go to two or three of them, or at least two of them, just to kind of get those unique sets. And he doesn't have to do that. Most people who play in the size venues that these kind of smaller concert halls, they don't do that. They don't mix up the set. They usually just play the same set. But they definitely, from talking to the merch guy, Johnny, it was mixed up. So it's really cool to see. And let's see. That's really the TR3 part of it. Okay, so what we're gonna do I'm gonna move because it's already 11:40 on Wednesday. What I want to do on Wednesday is talk to people about the tour. What are you doing? Where are you going? That's kind of the next step. Is we want to have people share their opinions. If you want to come on live, we can also figure out recording you if you're okay with it. We can try to do a recording ahead of time if you don't have the time. But Wednesday is going to be a show where we want to have people talk about what shows are looking forward to, what shows they are on the fence about, what shows are they locked in for. This tour is definitely going to be a unique tour. There's so many more southern dates than normal, and the South actually has the most tour stops. If you do the Northeast, South, the Central or Midwest, and the West, the South has I think about 17 tour dates and a couple of double headers. But I think again the population shift is a big factor in that. There are a lot of people that are moving down south. You cannot find houses cheap. Even in Florida, if you want to rent somewhere in Florida, forget about it. Unless you want to be in the country part of Florida, it's hard to find rent. It's hard to find housing. So, should be interesting. So, yeah, that's what we'll be talking about on Wednesday. I do want to see if we can also bring in someone from the Almanac to talk about what some of the stuff they've been working on. They took a little break for the tour, but they've been working on some other stuff. So I'm gonna try to the message them to see if they want to come on. There was some interest at the end of the tour season last year for someone to come on and talk to us. So we'll try to get that going. We will talk about some of our hopes for 2022, probably multiple times, but we'll get to that as well as in this first quarter of the year. What are you hoping to see? What do you want to go away? Um, Amy says not the time to buy anything. Yeah, it's a tough time. Interest rates just shot up. So now the interest rates are high and the property values are high. You look at a first time homeowner, interest rate now versus in late 2019. And so we'll look at that. And I did have, if you guys are on Instagram, I did have a video. We'll play it for you guys on here. And this is always a tough topic to talk about because I do, in some ways, it would be nice to see DMB be honored, but in other ways, I think as fans, we need to put things in perspective. So let me just play this video here about this is about Dave Matthews Band in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And if you can't tell, I have a little bit of experience in the insurance industry. You'll see here from this video. So this is my yearly Dave Matthews Band is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame reflection piece where I use insurance as an analogy to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. GEICO stands for Government Employees Insurance Company, meaning initially its goals and to make money to be successful was to insure government employees. That was their risk pool. No one else could get it. But as the company grew, as the company expanded, their financial needs changed, their financial philosophy and their risk averseness changed. So Geico, you can pretty much get Geico insurance as long as you have a car and you're willing to pay the rate. And they usually give you one of the best rates. I mean, you can search around, but you can get more people can get Geico now than they could get it 30, 40 years ago. And I say that to say the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, people say, oh, how did this rap group get in over DMB? How did this group get over DMB? Initially, it was rock and roll. But then they changed their pool of what they were going to accept and they expanded it. And that was actually a smart move, but they didn't want to rebrand. They're not going to say it's the Music Hall of Fame. No, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was a cool name. And they stuck with it, and they also get more people exposed to it because they have a more diverse genre. So DMB didn't get in, not because they didn't sell enough albums or not because they're not a talented act, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like the Grammys, is more of you have 100 or 200 voters who make that decision. It's not about what they sold. It's not about da-da-da-da. It's just the group of voters for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame didn't select DMB. The fan vote was one ballot. It counted as one vote towards the hundreds of votes for people that vote in the industry and people who are Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. So DMB did not get screwed over by the process. The process is made clear. You have these voters. The fan vote counts for one ballot, and it's up to the people to make their personal decision on the spot. It's not like the MLB Hall of Fame. If someone gets 3,000 hits, you get X amount of home runs, you're already in. As long as you didn't do steroids, unless you're David Ortiz, because he got in without the steroids. So I don't care if they get in, but I also don't, as someone who wants to represent this band the right way, I don't trash other people like other bands who got in over them. I don't trash the Rock Hall, even though, like I said, I think they should be in, but I don't trash them for that because I represent DMB. And also, DMB, by the way, they were honored. I'm sure they would like to get in. They said, look, we're not going to worry over this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. So I think as DMB fans, we should do the same thing, right? I'm not going to waste my time trying to argue with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm going to continue to enjoy this music, to share this music with others, and create spaces where we can all talk about this band we love. Because guess what? If DMB gets into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the music is not going to sound any better. It's not like you're going to wake up one morning, woo, I'm listening to number 41, and it sounds so much better because they're in the Rock Hall. No, your experiences with this band, what this band has done to help you through the darkest times of your life, that has nothing to do with if they get in the Rock Hall or not. It's a gold star, and it'll be a cool gold star if they get it, but it's not the end all be all. And that's why I don't want to trash other bands who get in. Especially what I was upset about is people were trashing hip hop and R&B legends just because DMB didn't get in. And it's not what now we're not going to do that because, by the way, R&B in hip hop is just as rock and roll as rock music. And by the way, rock music came from pretty much R&B and blues anyway. So R&B is the origin, blues and jazz is the origin of rock music. What do you think the Beatles were listening to? They weren't listening to rock bands. No, they listened to R&B artists and blues artists. That's what they were going up trying to get, selfies with back in their day. So I say all that to say that as we look at this time of year, let's not be bitter as DMB fans, okay? Let's realize that this is a private society that may let DMB in and may not. This is not about record sales. Don't even put that up. Oh, they did all that. They sold all these tickets. That's not what it's about. It's a personal opinion. And they're not held to the same standard as the sports Hall of Fames where, hey, if you get X amount of championships where you're active, if you get X amount of points or home runs, you are going to get in unless you cheat. Except, and again, unless you're David Ortiz who somehow got in and he's tested positive. Anyway, I'm bitter over that. Man, how is Ortiz going to get in, but you're not going to let everyone else in? But anyway, I digress. So, you can be denied for insurance just because of the zip code you live in. You could be a really great driver, but an insurance company's goals for profitability and for risk averseness and resources, they may not accept your Massachusetts policy in a certain zip code in Boston or Springfield because they feel like these rotaries and these roads are dangerous. So that's really how I feel about it. It's not like, they're the portfolio the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doesn't have DMB in its acceptance right now. That may change, but it's not like they're saying, oh, well, DMB is trash. No, it's the individual voters who make this decision, who then decide who gets in and who gets out. So it is what it is. That's all I got to say. Peace. Hey, Greg, listen. He was on the Mitchell report, and that there was a positive test that was concealed. All right. So to me, that's enough, right? That's enough. There's people who listen, Bonds never tested positive, right? And he's not in because of the steroid allegation, right? Never tested positive. But yeah, if Poppy, listen, let everyone in. I think everyone should get in, put asterisks or put, hey, there was a questionable amount of questions around this person, or hey, they tested positive. Maybe, but yeah, listen, come on. Yeah, Poppy shouldn't. Listen, he's a Hall of Famer, right? But if he's in, let Clemens in, let Bonds in. They should all be in. Anyway, I digress. So this was my video, and I really appreciate it. It seems like, and my point was to try to put perspective on this. Yeah, but he never tested positive, Greg. We're never going to agree on this. He never tested positive. There was an investigation, but he never tested positive, right? Yes, there was a company, but just because his company got in, and we have a report that was supposed to investigate, the Mitchell report was an investigation on baseball. So to me, it's the same. It's worse that Ortiz tested positive. Right? He tested positive. So he actually got caught. It just got concealed. So anyway, yeah, we're never gonna agree on that. But I think Ortiz is a Hall of Famer. I think Bonds is a Hall of Famer. I think McGuire, These clear cut Hall of Famers, to me, should be in. And we, even if you, these are going to be stories that are passed down. They're on YouTube about the allegations with all these people. So the next generations will know about the era, and baseball profited off the era, but they don't want to put these people in, right? They could have had testing in. They could have had testing in the 80s if they wanted to, right? We know, like the Olympics, the USADA, anti-doping, association, they had tests. Anyway, let me stop. So anyway, for this video, again, I just wanted to bring perspective. I During this time when DMB didn't get in, I was more upset at the way fans were carrying themselves on social media. Not all fans, but the squeaky wheels of the fan base were present. People were saying, "Oh," someone said, and this is what frustrated me. And I took a video down because I did kind of go, I think, too far. But my thing was this, and this is how I feel about family. This is how I feel about the kids I mentor. This is how I feel about myself when I make mistakes, right? I don't care as much about the unfairness of life as I do how your teammates, whether they're coworkers, whether they're family, whether they're sports teammates, how they react is a reflection of yourself. How people react that love the same band you do is a reflection on you, and it almost proves a point. People were saying things like, and now some of this was in, to be fair, this was in message boards. Message boards for any sort of subject are going to be more extreme, and sometimes message boards, they allow you to kind of get these thoughts out in a private manner, that then once you hear someone say, "Hey, you may not want to say that publicly," or, "Hey, this is why you're a little off base," it'll make someone test the market in the private form, and then kind of learn from that before they get to the public. But to me, this spewed over to the public because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had all these negative comments from DMB fans. And we claim to be a fan base that cares about others, that looks out for one another, that is about the material that Dave writes about, which is be kind always, no matter, right? And then these hissy fits get thrown when we don't get pit tickets, when we don't get the best seats in the house, when we're 20-year warehouse members and we're in the back of the venue. Yeah, because the warehouse grew. This band was playing in clubs, and yes, in 98 they were still playing arenas and selling them out, but this band's fan base grew, right? The reason they were even in contention in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is because of how great this band drew ticket wise, how much it sold. So I just don't like, and even like tonight where you have a fan talking, I see that so much in the DMB shows, even more than other shows. So my biggest thing was, I'm more upset about how people reacted. I understand why people were upset. I fully get why people were upset. But the thing is, part of it is we have to let that emotion pass before we get on a computer and then type mean things to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have to let that pass and then approach the social media in a better light. Because I'll tell you this, one of the reasons I think that Trish DMB brought this up, and she said it on the comment, but I believe this too. One of the reasons I think DMB wasn't put back on the ballot is because the fans threw such a hissy fit, and I think they were like, "All right, we got to let this thing cool off, right? We're not going to put them on the ballot right now. We got other people that are, probably going to get voted in." But the one thing I think people they didn't get right is the process for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was not that if you win the fan vote, you get selected. The process was, I believe it was at least the top five top five vote getters get some sort of representation in a ballot, a single ballot vote. And there's over 100 ballots that are sent out to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame members that are living and media personality that are still living, right? Because we have many legends who have passed, and they get to vote. So yes, the fan vote was one overwhelming, like there was a dominance in DMB winning the fan vote. But at the same time, it was one ballot vote. That was never it was never something that was hidden from us. It was never something that was lied about. They said the fan votes any act that gets a fan ballot vote, it's only one vote. So what that means is the other people who were voting, not enough of them voted for Dave Matthews Band, right? And now this is also, remember, for the Grammys, for DMB to win Grammys, right? It wasn't just about what public opinion was. The people who voted for the Grammys for DMB had to be DMB fans. I don't know if you guys notice on TV, but I'm in a couple Grateful Dead groups, and they know people who work for Fox and for CBS. You'll hear a lot of Grateful Dead. You'll hear some Fish. You'll hear some jam bands. There are people that work for Fox and CBS for football, and they're in charge of the music. They're huge Deadheads and huge classic rock fans. So you'll see a lot of that in the commercial breaks, right? Because the people who are making those decisions, who are in charge of the music and the audio, happen to be Deadheads. I think it's Fox or CBS. There's actually like a couple Deadheads that do those that are in charge of the audio and the music in between breaks. And that's why there's a little bit of Fish too, because they're jam band fans. So the Grammys, the reason DMB won so many Grammys is because the people who were voting for Grammys those specific years that they won, they love DMB. Yes, and there is DMB. Yeah, you're right. DMB is played a lot during the breaks. Yeah. So, but again, that those people are not Rock and Roll Hall of Fame voters. Those people work for certain networks. And also, you got to remember some of this too is for those networks. In order to be in charge of that stuff, audio or commercial breaks, you have to be a certain age. So you have a lot of DMB fans who are at that age of 40 to 50 that are at the top of some of these certain networks or audio departments or music departments or what have you, whatever their role is, and they choose DMB. And the same thing happened for the Grammys. There were people that just loved DMB. They may have been connected with the management, they may have been connected with the label, and they won Grammys because of that. And yeah, maybe some of it was the way that DMB was at its peak. But remember, DMB, as much as it is, they never really had radio hits, but a lot of their songs and the reason people kept going to tour shows was beyond the radio, right? Because they're not guaranteed to play Crash Into Me and Ants Marching every night. Even back in those days, you may not get Ants Marching or Two Step for a couple of days, depending on when it was that you saw the band. So it comes down to the people that are in power. And look, the people that are running the Rock Hall that do the voting, they're not DMB fans, right? People went to the Rock Hall and voted for who do you want to see get in next, right? DMB was, I think, one of the top two the year that they ended up were eligible. They're one of the top people that actually went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and filled it out. DMB was up there. So I don't care. And the thing is, I'm talking from a perspective of somebody who listen, I hope that they would get in, but I like to use we can all have emotions about this band, but the one thing I realized from the jump, even before they didn't get in, this is beyond our control. There's nothing we can do. If we throw hissy fits, it's not going to change it. There's things where you can stand up, and we're looking at what's happening with Spotify and Joe Rogan. People that are throwing hissy fits about what's going on, they just removed. Right, I was talking to Greg. They removed like 70 episodes of Joe Rogan's podcast. So like that's something where, hey, if certain people start to pull their stuff or certain podcasters start to pull out, listen, they're gonna probably get rid of Joe. It's all about a cost. So but to me, this rock and roll, it's out of our control. Any award ceremony, right? I remember losing a poetry contest to do a poem in my graduation. And listen, the person who won had a great poem, but the people were behind me. People heard my poem. I talked about people who had passed away, like a tribute to people who passed away. I talked about like just it was my poem was more relevant to us as a people in my senior class. The other poem was a better written poem for what the establishment at the school wanted. And listen, the person, she did a great poem, but I still will say my poem was better, right? So, but I knew that at the end of the day, I knew that listen, it's out of my hands. Like, and that's a life lesson. Just like yes, and this is another thing, and I want to highlight this. And this is the other thing that I did research on before I also reacted, and this is why I was upset, and this is why I thought DMB fans were selfish. Judas Priest, Pat Benatar, right? They've been nominated, and they're still waiting to get in. And I did some research about Rush, right? Because I've been a Rush fan. Now I'm a fan that caught on to them in like college, right? As far as like I knew like Tom Sawyer and all that for years, but in college I really got Rush, and I knew that it took for Rush got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What was that 2013? Like it was recent, and Rush has been out since the 70s. So if DMB has been out since the 90s and they just became out, Rush took forever. So that was my other thing is like this was a trend of great acts, right? Pink Floyd didn't get in right away. Like if you look back right now and you say who's a no doubt Hall of Famer, Pink Floyd, you would be like, yeah, Pink Floyd changed music as we know it, like so many other legends. And they didn't get in right away. They weren't a first ballot. So I looked at that. I did research and I looked at it and I said, look, if these acts have not gotten in, DMB could get in if the people liked them. If it was like if the same people that were in the Grammys committee were in the Rock and Roll Hall committee, DMB would be in. So I was like, if those people are going to get in, if not, I won't be shocked. It's just the nature of it. And as a hip hop fan, you want to talk about outrage. They have butchered the hip hop. The Grammys have butchered the hip hop category for years. They've got it right a couple times, but they've butchered it. It's because the personnel voting don't know hip hop, right? But again, it's a society, it's a country club, right? You have so many people that are out of touch with what the average American needs in politics because they don't live in the communities that are struggling in all parties, right? Even if it sounds right, they don't understand what the average person is going through, living paycheck to paycheck. They don't get it. They can have empathy. They can, be more empathetic than another side of the political spectrum, but they still don't know. Like even DMB, like Dave Matthews does not know what it's like. Like he can even go, he's gone to he's gone to protest, he can empathize, but it's going to be impossible for him to fully understand what it's like to be an average American day to day. He can empathize and try to understand, and he does great things with Farm Made and other charitable organizations, Headcount, right? Reverb, planting trees. But it's just people like there's certain a lot of the people who vote for this stuff, they will never understand. Just like me, right? I'm 31 years old. There's going to be stuff I don't understand about this current college generation. I graduated college 10 years ago. There's going to be certain things I just don't understand about. I can listen to them, I can talk to them, but there's going to be some things I just don't understand. The things they're going through, some of the more emotional things, the mental health that they have to deal with, the bullying that they deal with now versus the bullying that was going on when I was a kid. So, oh, does he live in a middle class neighborhood? I thought like Brandy Carlisle was his neighbor. But even so, even Seattle is different than the rest of Seattle. It's expensive to live in Seattle, and I know people who work at like Microsoft that are out there. It's Seattle is just it's an expensive place to live. It's like a California, like it's expensive to live. The gas prices in Seattle, right? You just can't live out there if you don't have a solid job. because it is just such a beautiful weather. It's mild weather. Their winters, like if it's 12 degrees out here, it's probably like 40 something in Seattle right now. Anyway, but yeah, so I didn't mean to talk about the daily citizen for this long, but I just hope that if you watch this, you can understand more. I understand the initial emotions, but we can't control it. And the thing is that to me is this is just a life lesson. I have to check myself too. We're all imperfect, right? But at the end of the day, we became fans of this band because we love their music, right? We love this music. We love what this band does. Even when I say, look, I don't like you and me, right? I don't like Don't Drink the Water, the current version. We still enjoy this. I love the connections, like meeting some of you guys, Greg, DMB Mamas, some of you guys at the Gorge. I'll be seeing some of you guys at Alpine, right? And SPAC. Some people are coming to SPAC that I haven't met yet. And we'll be catching up at the shows. There is oh, Amy, you're in Amy, where are you? Are you in Seattle? Are you in Seattle? Yeah, Seattle's 42 degrees right now. And they also don't get the snow. The mountains do, like the central Washington gets some snow. The gorge actually is bitter cold, but the way the topography is set up, Seattle gets a lot of rain, so they don't get the high. It's a very mild, just like where Greg lives in Connecticut versus where I live. The shoreline doesn't always get the extreme cold, but they also don't get the extreme warmth. If it's like a spring day, I could be 75 degrees. The shoreline could be Oh, you're in Iowa, Amy. You're in Iowa. Okay. Actually, fun Black History Month fact. I actually know the first black news reporter, I believe in the state of Iowa. He goes to my church. He's out here in Connecticut now, and he actually worked at the college I worked at. But when I tell you he was a trailblazer, and he actually talked to our young men at church, our mentor program. But he was the first. Yeah, New London County is the rain. Yeah, New London, even part of Middlesex County is, it can be a little bit warmer at the southern tips of Middlesex County. And um, but yeah, Amy, I know the first black, I think, news reporter that ever in the state of Iowa ever. That he was, and he actually had somebody who fought for him to be able to be on there. But it's very cool stories that he's shared. All right, that's really all I had. But definitely, if you haven't seen that, check out on Instagram, ConcertViz34. This is on my Instagram. Check out that, and I hope, and I oh, what is his name? Dwight Bachman, Bachman, Dwight Bachman. He went to the University of, I think, Northern Iowa, but he's from. Is he from Waterloo? Where is he from? I'm trying to remember where he's from. He's from Iowa. I want to say it's Waterloo, Iowa, but it could be somewhere else. Trying to see, where is he? I'm gonna say Waterloo, Iowa, but I can't remember. Yeah, he's from the class of 1970. Yeah, he's from Waterloo. Yeah, Dwight Bachman. Yeah, I'll show you this. This is he's a real good dude. Yeah, so he went to inducted into the Waterloo East High Hall of Fame for 2012, became the first African American reporter for KWWL TV in Waterloo in 1967 after earning his MA from Cornell. Yeah, he's a great dude. But yeah, that's him right here. Class of 1970 from University of Northern Iowa. All right, anyway, I can talk all day about various subjects. Let me get you guys off of here. We're going to end with let's see. Like I like to do the Batson sessions just because I don't have to worry about, I try not to mess with copyrights. All right, we're going to do Break For It here. So we're going to end on Break For It. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being on, Greg. I know you're could have easily been asleep right now. All you guys could have been asleep right now. It's 12/12, February 6th. Don't forget the 8th, February 8th, the warehouse ticket requests will end. Now I think they're going to extend it. They always do it every year. But just make sure you have them in by the 8th. I got to do those, put my final ones in right now, actually, so that we have those locked in. I kind of know what I'm requesting, but I just didn't do it yet. I said I would wait till the weekend. It's not time sensitive. Doesn't look if you did it right away or not. But thank you guys for being on. We're going to end with Break For It, and that'll be the show. Peace.
Start, I woke up, bang, too many ghosts in here, and I wonder, will we find peace anywhere? When you hold me, girl, it all falls far away, but only if I could always feel this way. Can't help but think that take a ride. Come on, just you and me. Come on, let's make a break for it, baby. Make a place of our desire. Let's make a break for it, baby. Let's run while we can. We'll run while we can. TV's on, turn it on. There's too many lies in there. Makes me wonder, could we find the truth someday? And then you talk to me. You are the truth I need. I could walk through any door if I could always be this sure. Can't help but think that come on, let's take a ride. Come on, just you and me. Come on, let's make a break for it, baby. Let's make a life of our own design. Let's make